everyone, how's it going? So I'm starting this video a little early. It's before the close. It's so this is real time. There's 5 minutes left. Um, Watch right here. I'll go into all this. I don't really know what this is, but watch right here. See how there's all these. You got the 360 calls right here, and then they're active today too. So the stock isn't gonna go up over 360. And use as data as you want, like, or if you like, it would be more for scalpers or anything really if you're just plucking 10 cents at a time. But it's not going to go above it because when it does, these people over here, so this is the July weekly, here's your 360 calls. So anytime it starts to go above this, these will pretty much be intrinsic value. They'll turn into anything above. So it's not going to go above because people will start closing these out because there'll be value in them, or they're going to be in the money basically. Long way of saying it. So that's why I watch right here. You'll see it come off. So that's what that is. You can kind of start to see this and decipher this data yourself, hopefully. Okay, I'm back after the close. So I left off with you. Apple was at this 360. I was going to say you're just going to run into pressure because of all those 360 calls that are open there. People are going to start to close them out. And so the market maker has to take the other side, and it's going to cause selling pressure. So it's not going to be going over 360. This is just more of a reference. Use it for an example of what has been happening for the last 6 months or so. I'm not trying to make the point where I told you guys all week, because the options market broke last week, like I've been saying. But for an example, that's exactly what happens. And normally, the selling will just continue, like during the week, like that would have happened. So what you saw right there is on a tiny, tiny scale of what you've seen in the past. So it would be during the week, on a Wednesday or Thursday or something, Apple would come up to this 362, and then all of a sudden these people would start closing out their options or commercial money because they didn't want it over this point. For whichever way you want to go, there was selling there. These are going to be selling points. So it kind of kicks off a little catalyst and it'll drop down, $1 or $2, get it under this, and then people will just start piling it on, and commercial money will just pour the coals to it and keep it down here. As you saw last weekend broke, though, what happens, like this right here, this is all actual just organic type. This is real buying here. This isn't any type of options manipulation, none of that, because there was no puts or anything to get this started. This is real buying. So last week you saw that it just couldn't keep the selling. There was no more sellers left. They couldn't keep the pressure on, and so it broke. And then, like I was saying in that last video, if you go back, it's just gonna keep going and going and going because the options market isn't set up for it. And you see too, that's why I didn't have a probability range on this week. What will happen, the options market breaks when these keep just changing. Like all week, I don't even remember. I just completely stopped doing it. This was like, say, 355 and then 360, then back to 355 and 34. It just didn't know where it was. And so that's in a sign of just the options market doesn't have a reign on the stock anymore. The options market became a derivative product again. So you can tell when that happens. You can tell when the stock is free, when these start to just jump around all the time. Because if you have followed the site, these have stayed pretty constant because it's easy for the market to keep it in that range, and these just stay your open interest. Let's go to something like this. These just stay your open interest because they're so far out of the money, no one's going to spend the money to close them out, so it just stays in here. Well, finally now nothing is just set up, and you have real buyers coming in here. So that's what's happening. What in this monthly just kind of is one of those that just caught in the mix, because you always have to be ready. As one of these days, it couldn't have lasted forever. It was gonna break the options market, and it just happens to be that it fell on this cycle. So, um, if you were, hopefully you're never, net short up here, but if you sold and you put stuff down here, you're completely fine. And if you sold covered calls on one of these, big deal. You either buy it back for a loss, but your stock or whatever you sold it against, has had this big run because we were down at this 320 level. So be happy with that. Like, I have short 360 calls on. I didn't see this coming or anything, but I'll just buy them back for a loss, and then keep all my shares from 2007 or whatever. And in leaps, I have a bunch of leaps and stuff too. But yeah, it's just one of those things where you get caught in it, but that's completely fine. I'll take a little loss up here, and then what I'll probably do is actually sell. I'll close up this 360 and probably sell like a 370 or something. But not mad. It just things happen. So that's why I'm saying it's not a one week event. Even though I'm not even really going to count it. Even though here's the weekly, it did finish under here. You saw why this thing was moving all around. It wasn't even stable whatsoever. So that's why here the options market's not set up, so it'll keep breaking and breaking and breaking. So for the foreseeable future, until it gets it on lockdown again, and come into the tools thing, it really doesn't have. You can tell too why the options market is just back to being a derivative product. Is just stuff is scattered everywhere. I mean, nobody knows what's going on. Or this is July. I'm sure August will show a little different. Maybe September. Yeah, see how this is just it. Nobody knows what's going on. So that's always a good sign of, again, this is coming back to being a derivative product where the stock is going to dictate where this goes. Again, going back to that, that's how you can see the stock is in charge now, because these keep shifting so much. And like you saw in that September, these are just everywhere. So it's back to being a somewhat normal market. So that's really it for the week. Basically, you can still use. I still use all this stuff. Definitely use this puts. I'll keep selling puts. It's a great time to sell puts or put spreads. And then just you can use these as your, we're going to come into some selling pressure here. We're going to come into a little bit here. So if you're the type of person that wants to, get a dollar gain or a little bit or entry, you buy stocks on Friday because you get paid or whatever, just know that there'll probably be a little selling pressure here. So maybe grab a little bit cheaper, but there's no, any more on this call side. It's not going to go over this for sure. Don't play it that way anymore. Just kind of use them as points of reference. So when it goes, and this is what I've been waiting for, and it should just break out to all-time highs. And